Welcome back, folks, to Let's Play Star Trek Judgement Rites. And when last we left off, we were going to go to the Antares system to take over the duties of the USS Regulus in their, efforts to chart that system in general. Let's talk to Spock about it before we head out.
The Antares Rift. It should be a most interesting assignment.
I imagine he's going to tell us why.
How so, Spock?
Indeed.
There have been several attempts to chart it. All expeditions into the rift vanished, without a trace.
That is not in the least bit ominous at all, Spock. And by that I mean that is totally ominous.
But those expeditions were years ago. Our starships are far more capable than they were during the time of those attempts.
Captain, a 10-year-old child is far more capable than a 3-year-old child. But there are many problems that neither child can solve.
An interesting analogy, and quite a true one as well. Without further ado, let us head to the Antares system, which I do believe is this one, the right-handmost swirl. Engage! Let's hope I'm right.
Captain's log, stardate 6257.6. We have entered the Antares Rift and found spatial disruptions in the rift that make using warp engines extremely dangerous. Repairs are almost complete on the minor damage we suffered upon entry into the rift. We are continuing our survey using impulse engines.
Well, this is not at all dangerous, and by not at all dangerous, you get the idea. This is very, very dangerous.
My poor babies. Warp engines were meant to be used, Captain.
I know, Mr. Scott, but, you know, if we use them and the Enterprise exploded...
Communications are back online, Captain.
Excellent.
Deflectors at 93% power and increasing.
Also excellent.
Captain, undoubtedly that phenomenon would explain many of the strange disappearances in this sector. Still, with our warp engines deactivated, our computers indicate we will be safe.
Are you sure about that?
Communications are out again, Captain. Is anyone hurt?
Yeah, about that. I don't think we're going to be safe at all.
If he was human, Mr. Spock's pride might be...
Yeah, it might be.
Captain, sensors failed to indicate anything unusual prior to the explosion. I would speculate that it was caused by an extremely unusual rift in the space-time continuum, a place where radically different physical laws apply.
Yep. Basically, this is going to be one of those days for the Enterprise.
And since it was different space-time, our sensors weren't programmed to detect it.
That's true.
And it could happen again at any time without warning.
That's also true. Now we have control on the actual bridge itself. Let's look at everything.
The damage readout for the Enterprise has gone crazy. There are obviously problems with the ship's damage registers.
Fair enough.
The damage readout...
We've already heard that one.
Ship's short-range sensor display for the science station. Now all it is displaying is static.
That's not very helpful.
This door leads to the turbo lift.
Yup. Let's look at everyone here.
James Kirk worries about the safety of his ship.
As well he should, considering where we are.
Mr. Sulu has complete faith in his captain, who has gotten them out of worse predicaments than this.
That's true.
Mr. Chekhov sometimes wishes he had a safer occupation, like handling antimatter.
I don't think that's very safe.
This is the second time that hailing frequencies have gone down today. Lieutenant Uhura is not having a good day.
Let's talk to Mr. Spock, because if the communication frequencies have gone down twice and Uhura's not having a good day, Spock must be having a really bad day.
Mr. Spock is trying to determine a way to detect the rifts before the Enterprise is destroyed.
It certainly makes sense that various craft that went in here were destroyed, especially with all this.
Mr. Scott wonders how he'll look like a miracle worker this time.
I've no idea.
Ensign Walker came to the bridge to discuss discrepancies in the last damage control report. He now wishes he was elsewhere.
Yeah, that means you might be roped along in, coming on whatever mission we end up doing, Walker. Congratulations for volunteering.
We need to make communicating with the rest of the ship our first priority.
That's true. We need to let everybody know what's going on.
Status, Mr. Sulu.
Indeed.
Helm is not responding, Captain. The controls are completely dead.
That is not good. Also, there are no actual, movements of, mouths for dialogue at the moment.
Status, Mr. Chekhov.
Yep.
Captain, navigation is not responding. The circuits are as lifeless as a Stalinist.
It's not working, which is not good.
Scotty, what's our status?
Probably bad.
Very bad, Captain. Whatever hit the Enterprise hit us right in our own neighborhood. The hull is breached 6 meters from the bridge. Beyond that, the instruments are useless. I can't read or send anything through these controls. We'll need a starbase to make this bridge functional again.
Oh dear.
Scotty, how about auxiliary control?
That's a good question.
Captain, I cannot determine the status of anything beyond the place where the rupture occurred. The rest of the ship could be dead as far as we know.
That is true, but we do still have power, which says that at least we have power. Hello, Ensign Walker.
Ideas, Mr. Walker?
I'm a security guard, sir, not an idea man. Still, if we could send out probes to detect these rifts, we might get a better idea on whether they're moving or not, and whether we should stop and make repairs, or keep moving.
That's not a bad idea. That's really not a bad idea.
Any ideas, Lieutenant?
I was barely able to reroute the necessary connections last time, Captain. Communications are completely useless now. We may be able to enter codes into the library computer and instruct others to send messages to us.
That could work. What about Spock?
Captain, I believe I may be able to adjust the sensors to detect these spatial rifts and pilot the Enterprise to avoid them. However, the sensors are too heavily damaged here. I will need to get to auxiliary control as soon as possible if I am to reroute the necessary systems.
Well, looks like we have a mission.
Mr. Spock, the bulkheads were breached just outside of the bridge. No one's going to be able to leave the bridge for at least an hour unless they're transported out.
Well, we're gonna have to try something. Let's do some walking.
It's stuck. We're not getting out of here that way.
Oh, well, and as Scotty said, we really don't want to get out that way. We have various stations we could look at.
The communications station. This is where Lieutenant Uhura is normally located.
Okay.
Mr. Scott's home away from home, aka engineering. This allows access to some of the more important engineering functions from the bridge. Most notably damage control systems and emergency power and internal sensors.
Not bad.
This is the science station, where Spock scans anomalies and operates the ship's library computer.
I think Spock is going to be the one that's going to have to get us out of this situation. Mr. Spock, see what you can do. Please.
Captain, the library computer is online. Apparently, its circuits were shielded from the explosion.
That's handy.
Captain, I have managed to program a message into the library computer. The first time a person accesses the computer, they will read our distress signal. Hopefully, they can code a reply into the computer, which we can access.
That is handy. Well, nothing for it, Mr. Spock, but to check and see what's happening. Has somebody accessed the computer already? Spock's just like, I do hope someone has accessed it.
Captain, the transporters are operational. I request permission to be transported, so I can begin the adjustments to sensors as soon as possible.
That is a sensible thing to ask for permission for.
Go ahead, Spock.
That's not a bad thing to say.
No, Spock, I'll go first. Go ahead, Spock.
So we pretty much have the option of letting Spock go or us go. I think we should give him permission.
Spock!
Oh dear, isn't it a good thing that Spock went first? What was that? That was something.
Captain, this bridge is useless. For our own sake as well as Spock's, we have to find a way to get out of here.
Yup, we don't know where Spock has just gone.
The controls are still not functioning, Captain.
How can you tell from there?
Captain, what was that thing?
Not a clue.
I don't know, Mr. Chekhov, but I intend to find out.
Indeed.
Captain, we need to get off the bridge. I recommend we keep monitoring the science station and see if anyone answers our messages.
That's a sensible idea.
Captain, that thing with the 4 arms wasn't... Mr. Spock, was it? That beam wasn't some sort of transmutation beam, was it?
I hope not.
I don't think so, Mr. Walker. But the two have to be connected.
They do indeed. Well, let's think about what we can do here. I mean, we could use other people on the science station. Just start from the right and move down. You're up. Have a look, see what you can find.
I'm patching your log into the computer. You should have voice messages.
Excellent.
Captain, we've managed to jury-rig an evacuation tube through the bridge turbo lift. We should be able to keep it stable long enough for you to be evacuated.
That is good. Thanks, Chief Kyle. That is very, very good. Let's go into that turbo lift now. And let's hope that it actually works. Okay, we are currently here. So, we need to head over, I do believe, to, what's up? Auxiliary control. Where is auxiliary control? There's auxiliary control. That's where we wanted to go to. Okay.
Captain's log. After equipping ourselves with tricorders and phasers, we are now searching for a way to find Spock and return him to us. I've determined that the best place to start
is auxiliary control. Ah.
Captain, it's a very good thing we took the warp engines offline.
Or we'd all be dead right now.
How bad is it, Scotty?
Probably very.
That explosion was 42% stronger than the one that struck near the bridge. Our lift warp nacelle is crippled, Captain.
Yeah, if that had been on, that would have exploded.
I hope it's not a trend. Keep me posted to Mr. Scott. Kirk out.
Thank you. So, we have with us, Chekhov, Sulu, and Ensign Walker.
Hikaru Sulu has seen more than one attempt by aliens to take control of the ship, and they've always failed.
Let's hope this one fails too.
Pavel Chekhov is a little nervous right now.
I think I am too.
James Kirk wonders about his friend Spock's safety.
Well, we've no idea about that.
Angus Walker wonders how they're going to remove the aliens this time.
That is a good question. What else is there around here?
This screen shows the layout on this deck. The door directly ahead of you leads to the auxiliary control.
Hopefully the auxiliary control will allow us to actually control the ship. In some way.
Well, they say the price of freedom is eternal vigilance.
What does that mean, Sulu? That we should have been more vigilant? How could we, if the sensors said nothing?
The sensors did say nothing.
Well, maybe if Starfleet sensor designers would be quicker to modify their sensors to react to new phenomena.
You two are as bad as Spock and McCoy.
Oh dear, we don't have McCoy with us. That is an interesting point.
I'd feel more comfortable, Captain, if we knew what happened to Mr. Spock.
I hope we'll find out.
Awaiting orders, Captain.
Very well, Mr. Walker.
I could use advice. Suggestions, anyone? Spock.
You were going to ask Spock.
I know, Captain. We miss him too.
I'm sure he'll be back soon.
The doorway to auxiliary control.
Let's go. Let's go.
Our highest priority is control of the sensors. We must find Spock.
So this is where we can basically control everything, in a sort of way.
I'll handle it, Captain. Remember, I was a physicist when I first joined the Enterprise.
I did not actually know that.
Ah! Captain, look!
Ooh, there it is. What do we want to do with that thing? We could look at it.
A strange alien.
You know what? Let's try and talk to it. What's the worst that could happen after all? That.
Captain, what happened?
I think we were teleported out the room.
It appears our alien friend likes its privacy.
Indeed. Most certainly likes his privacy. That's gonna make this tricky. But we know...
Save new game.
We know where he is.
Replace previous
If the alien even is a he, we don't know. We know where the alien is. Now we're gonna have to replace this file, I believe. We know where it is, so Why don't we shoot it? We're going to have to use a more powerful phaser to get through that door, though. I don't think a stun phaser is going to do the trick. I don't think a stun phaser is going to do the trick. Now, let's see if we can have a look through that tiny hole.
The door to auxiliary control. The panel next to it indicates that it is locked.
Can we go through it now?
The Cossacks have locked the door, Captain.
Well, we have a tiny hole now. Can we look at that hole?
The door to auxiliary...
Well, did we do anything? Let's see if the this tricorder will work.
A single life form, non-terrestrial, carbon-based. It doesn't seem to be doing anything to our controls. In fact, it's not doing much of anything.
That's because I think we shot it. I think we shot it. Let's try the medical one.
Captain, I'm getting a sensor reading on the alien. I'm sure Dr. McCoy will find this data very interesting.
And I think we couldn't have got that if we hadn't have shot a hole through that door. We're gonna have to go to McCoy, I think. So, can we actually get into this door?
This panel doesn't seem to be working.
The alien has thought of everything.
We could bring down a phaser welder and force it open.
We could.
We don't have the time, Mr. Sulu.
We could shoot it, I suppose. We could try and shoot it. But I don't think we want to right now. I actually think we just want to go to, we want to go to Sickbay. There is Sickbay. Excellent. Here is Sickbay, or rather a corridor leading to it.
This passage leads back to the turbolift.
It does.
Ensign Pavel Chekhov.
Yep.
Lieutenant Hikaru Sulu.
Yep.
Ensign Angus Walker.
Indeed.
Captain James T. Kirk.
Well, let's look at this door.
This is the doorway to Sickbay.
And I'm sure McCoy will be so happy to see us. He won't be happy to see us at all.
Am I mistaken? Or do I get the impression the intruder could do a lot of physical damage if it wanted?
I get that impression too.
It doesn't need to. The Antares rift is doing all the physical damage that is necessary.
True.
And don't worry, Captain. If we can't get Spock back, I wouldn't be surprised if he got himself out of this mess.
Maybe?
I'd like to think so, but I fear there are limits even to Spock's abilities.
Maybe.
Well, Sulu, when the Enterprise is in trouble, who do they turn to save the day?
All of you!
And guess who doesn't get the glory?
Or the credit?
Yes, let's not forget the credit.
Stop complaining, gentlemen. And I thought McCoy was a major league grouser.
We're about to go talk to him.
Sickbay. I hate sickbay. Why do we have to come here?
Let's go in. Let's see what McCoy has to say.
Well, Jim, I leave you alone for 5 minutes and look at the mess you've made.
It's nice to see you too, McCoy. I'm just happy that there's not a lot of people here to treat.
Medical instruments line the wall of Sickbay.
Indeed they do.
Assorted medicines are stacked on shelves behind an enclosure.
Yep.
This equipment allows Dr. McCoy to quickly synthesize chemicals and save his patients' lives.
They do.
This bed is currently unoccupied.
I think they're all unoccupied.
Dr. McCoy, who never understood why people get so nervous in Sickbay. It's the safest part of the ship.
Are you sure about that? Let's talk to everyone first before we end the video.
James Kirk, captain of the Enterprise, who never really liked Sickbay.
I don't think many people do.
This seems pointless.
Nope, I clicked on the wall instead of the crew member.
Hikaru Sulu, doing his best to remain calm in a difficult situation.
It is pretty difficult.
Pavel Chekhov, who still has nightmares about the time in Sickbay when they conducted close to 50 tests on him, when the others in his landing party were hit by advanced aging and he wasn't.
I don't remember that episode.
Angus Walker, who remembers being in a hospital when he was a child on Earth.
Oh.
Don't worry, Doctor. I'm all right. You don't need to treat me.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't going to.
Then why are you here?
There's a good question.
I'm just with the captain. I'm feeling great. You don't have to...
That's fine, Lieutenant.
Yep, he's most certainly, worried.
Hello, Doctor. Nice weather, isn't it?
No.
You're a navigator, not a conversationalist, Ensign.
Yes, I am. And an unappreciated navigator at that.
Oh. We all appreciate you.
If we keep having these random explosions, Doctor, I'm afraid your sickbay is going to be overflowing.
It'll be worse than that.
I thought you were a helmsman, not the bearer of bad tidings.
I do many things well, Doctor.
And that is one of them.
Well, Bones, it looks like we have to save Spock in order to save the Enterprise.
Yep, that looks about right.
That's a tough choice, Jim.
A tough choice?
Jim, what is going on out there?
Well, there's a storm and four-armed aliens, and Spock's gone.
Spock is gone, Bones. He was transporting off the bridge, and then he vanished, and then this alien appeared in auxiliary control.
Wonderful! Just what we wanted to tell him.
An alien kidnapped Spock? Why?
I don't know.
I don't know. We managed to get a medical scan.
That's good.
Jim, this says our invaders are Vaurians.
What are Varians?
Vaurians, but they're extinct. They died out at the time that Cochrane invented the warp drive. They were slaughtered in the Three Systems War.
Obviously this one wasn't.
Jim, I know my history, but I also know my anatomy. The alien in auxiliary control is a Vaurian. There's only one strange thing.
Go on.
What's that?
This creature isn't capable of doing some of the things that you described. It's an ordinary Vaurian. No special organs, no unusual brain patterns, nothing that traditionally suggests superhuman feats.
And yet...
Can you neutralize it, Bones?
That's a good question.
Actually, it's a female. And yes, I know of something that can incapacitate it without harming it. A gas mixture. You'll have to pump large quantities into auxiliary control for it to be effective, but it should work almost immediately.
Well, that's good.
Here's the gas, Jim. Be careful with it. There hasn't been a Vaurian in 150 years.
We'll be careful. We'll be careful. And when we come back, folks, we will continue to be careful. Very, very careful. Maybe we might even be able to save the Vaurian. Who knows? I'll catch you next time, folks. And I'll see you then. Later.